What's up, YouTube? Welcome to another episode of the Inside Post. After the holiday rush weekend, Thanksgiving, hopefully everybody had a great Thanksgiving. We're looking at the Kentucky Derby for 2025 and some of these Kentucky Derby wagering pools for the early prep seasons or the early Kentucky Derby wagers. Right now, these close, I believe, tonight, December 1st at 6 o'clock. So if you are wanting to wager, you can get on to Twin Spires. So let's look ahead. We have Citizens Bull. Yes, the Baffert trained horse out of Into Mischief. A ton of people owning this horse right now. But yes, the horse that came in beating Gaming, beat out Getaway Car in that Kentucky Breeders' Cup Juvenile for Kentucky Derby points. Should be one horse that's definitely going to be pointed for the Kentucky Derby. 3 for 4, lifetime 100 speed figure in that Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Looked really good in there, beating out some of the other contingents of the Bafferts, such as Gaming, Getaway Car, and I think there was another one. So, comes out of the American Pharoah, 3 grade 1s so far for Citizens Bull. Just a huge step forward in that Juvenile, and kind of rightfully so, going with the other Baffert and spoiling in there. So, Gaming was kind of thought to be the big horse for Baffert, but definitely Citizens Bull just ran him off their feet. One of the other horses, or likelier horses here, going a little bit longer, mile and a 16th in his last 2. 2 grade 1s already under his belt that he's won. So definitely a heavy contender for the Kentucky Derby as long as the horse can stay healthy. And the connections kind of keep this one pointed toward the Kentucky Derby. Likely, we're probably going to see this horse maybe ship east and run now that the ban has been lifted on Baffert. So we'll see if we see the horse kind of coming into maybe Louisiana or the Arkansas at Oaklawn or anything like that. Or will the horse just kind of stay where it's at on the West Coast, kind of running maybe the Los Al or Santa Anita, those types of preps, in hopes to, kind of reach enough points to get itself to the Kentucky Derby. Definitely a likely contendant for sure. With the ban on Baffert being lifted, the horse just looks really great. One that we didn't obviously have coming into the Juvenile, but definitely, obviously we kind of learned our lesson. Never go against the Bafferts in those types of races for sure. I believe the horse is probably one of the favorites outside of Barnes, the other Baffert horse that just made its debut at Churchill. In this December 1st pool, this short 3-day pool that we have here for the current Derby pool, I guess you could call it. Next, we have one named Donut God. Kind of a unique name for sure. Out of Into Mischief in here. Currently 19-1 for Brian Lynch. I was trying to find it on the Twin Spires early pool, but 19-1 right now for one that's so far undefeated. Again, Brian Lynch so on the trainer side of things, depending on what could happen as that horse kind of moves forward. It broke its maiden back November 14th at Churchill Downs, going 5 furlongs. Again, not much in the likes of, I guess, like graded stakes races, but as you can see, broke its maiden, going 5 furlongs. So maybe one that's going to likely or be a sprinter. So we'll see if the horse kind of rebounds and goes 6 furlongs or longer. But probably won't see this horse till maybe December or even January on the track. Just coming off of a race a couple weeks ago. Didn't beat much, breaking its maiden in here. As you can see, that the class just wasn't anything to wow. But definitely one out of the Into Mischief Heartland's Holiday. The sire line there looks really good with Carpe Diem on the dam side out of the Sweet Kisses. Like I said, this one I think was 19-1 morning line or early wagering pool. 19-1 for Brian Lynch and the Flying Dutchman Breeding and Racing LLC. Next up, if we can get Horse Racing Nation to load here, everything wants to take forever. It seems like it's just slow paced getting into these horse profiles on there. So we have Bullard, a beautiful gun runner, 2-year-old colt for St. Elias, Three Chimneys, West Point. Mike McCarthy is the said trainer on this horse. Gun runner babies usually run really well and kind of come into their 3-year-old season really strong, as we have seen some of these other horses do in the past. Outside of Candy Ride, Candy Girl, Magnolia de Oro on the dam side, looks phenomenal. Broke its maiden at Del Mar going 6 with an 85 speed figure in there. Backed it up in the Bob Hope, a grade 3 prep race. Again at Del Mar going 7 furlongs. Won that one as well, beating out Matticat Road in Mackenzie Street. Mackenzie Street, I think, is a Baffert trained horse. I'm not real sure, but I think so. So this one kind of setting itself up again. We'll see where this horse is going to point to next. Being a West Coast horse, probably going to stay there and kind of race against some of these contingents of the Bafferts, or we may see McCarthy ship this horse east to run in another prep race here in the future. I think the Remsen is what we have coming up shortly, December 7th. So we'll see what we get out of that. But for sure, already has the Bob Hope under its belt for a grade 3 stakes race, so really looks good coming out of a graded race. Kind of interesting to see where they'll point it. I think they stick to the West Coast, and it's like, we're going to face these Baffert horses. We're going to see what we can do. That's ones we're obviously going to have to beat. Currently 25-1 on the early pool. Like I said, this ends tonight at 6. If you were getting into it, Mike McCarthy trained here with the beautiful gun runner sire on top. Next, we have the guy who knows how to get to the Kentucky Derby in Todd Pletcher with his 2-year-old Uncaged out of Curlin, Dark Nile by Pioneer of the Nile. So, wow, what a pedigree this one has. For sure, owned, I believe, by Windstar, but the silks look like Rapoli's. So I don't know what's going on with that. Maybe it's just something that needs to be updated in Horse Racing Nation. One race and one win back in August. This was on a muddy track at Saratoga going 6 furlongs in a maiden race there. Posted a 90 speed figure, which is huge. I think first time out, especially in the mud for 2-year-olds. Beat out a really good horse in Classicist. This horse was getting a lot of buzz leading up to this race. I believe Classicist was one of the favorites coming in here. Pretty good favorite for sure. But Uncaged came in and kind of wiped him off their feet. Currently the horse, I just went past it, sitting at 63-1. So really good odds on Uncaged right now. One-time raced horse coming off a muddy track, 63-1 for a Todd Pletcher to get you to the Derby. And who knows, a lot can happen in the Kentucky Derby, as we have seen in the past 3-4 years. So kind of like the speed. The horse does come off, hasn't raced since August, so we'll see what's going on with that. I think Classicus has raced like 2 or 3 times since this race, so maybe they're just kind of figuring out where they want to go with the horse, if they're going to stick to the East Coast and the Naira tracks since the horse came from Saratoga, or are they going to ship it to the warmer weather down south, maybe Gulfstream, Tampa, Louisiana, rightfully so, kind of where Todd puts some of his other horses. So we should see Uncaged make probably his second start here soon. So definitely want to take note of and kind of like and subscribe so you can kind of follow us as we follow some of these horses. Next, we have the 2-year-old In Sovereignty, another Into Mischief. This one owned by Go Dolphin, William Mott, as the trainer in here. Another horse out of Into Mischief, another horse with a Derby prep under his belt in the street sense at Churchill back in October. Won there, going a mile and a 16th. 92 speed figure over Tiztastic, who raced in the Jockey Club here a couple days ago. Didn't have very good luck in its maidens at Saratoga or Belmont at Aqueduct. Finished second and I believe fourth at Saratoga. But 90 speed figures look pretty good. The speed figures are staying consistent. Nothing really too big on the board. The second at Belmont Aqueduct was pretty phenomenal at 98, running a second in there, but did run against Classicus just like Uncaged had done. Like I said, a horse that had a lot of buzz around it. And then just kind of fired away in that street sense. It looked really good, really good speed figure in 92, and did it, with some other pretty good competition in there that it didn't really have to worry about. So this one will be a good one to see where we go next with Sovereignty. We'll probably won't see this horse race until January, maybe February, and another smaller prep race. Or we could see Mott maybe keeping this one or going to Turfway and running on the synthetic. I just think that's a tough ask for this horse because we never know what we're going to get from the synthetics to the dirts. Kind of a lower price, 19-1 currently for an Into Mischief with Will Mott. So kind of there's some value there for sure. At 19-1 if you're kind of the one that kind of bets these early type wagering pools. And next up, we have Uncle Jim out of City Light, now by Tisnow, LaPenta, or Robert LaPenta, Madaket Stables for Brad Cox. He's got a slew of horses, just like some of our other heavy trainers in here. This one ran, I believe, in October. Keeneland finishing first in there, an 88 speed figure. Not much of a competitive race or competition. The pace looked kind of slow, 128 and 9, going 7 in furlong. Seems a little slow for that type of track. But the horse is pointing towards the 2024 Rimson, which, like I said, will be this weekend. December 7th, I do believe, is when this is going to be ran. Trying to get some of these ads out of the way so it'll pop up. But I think it's December 7th. The Grade 2 Rimson is where Uncle Jim is going to be pointed to. So we will see. He's got 7 or 8 other horses kind of coming in here to run. But we'll be doing a video on that. So make sure to like, subscribe, turn on your notifications for that video as we kind of kick off the Derby preps for the 2025 Kentucky Derby. But Uncle Jim, we'll see if he's able to back it up and pick up a pretty good win in the Rimson. That's kind of always been a decent prep race for the Derby, so we'll see what we get as far as the class in there. But possibly Uncle Jim being favorited coming into that one as well. And his odds, 30-1 currently for a Brad Cox horse out of City Light, and Uncle Jim, a dark bay or brown horse. Looks pretty phenomenal in its first start, so we'll see how it can back it up in that Grade 2. So all other 3-year-olds currently, if you want to go that route, 9-5. And like I said, Barnes, the 12-1 Baffert horse getting its first start at Churchill. Rightfully so. Who knows? The Kentucky Derby horse probably hasn't even raced yet. But this is always fun to see what horses are out there and what we can watch for their 3-year-old seasons as the prep seasons kick off for Kentucky Derby 25. So thank you for watching. Make sure to leave a comment down below of your top pick or a horse that you're kind of interested in for the Kentucky Derby, and we'll see what happens. We'll kind of put out some more of these videos as the wagering pools kind of open and close of who we like, and we'll also kind of give you our diagnosis of each of the Kentucky Derby preps as the season kind of continues on. So we thank you for watching. Again, make sure to like, subscribe. We'll catch you guys next time on our next Kentucky Derby prep video. Thanks for watching, everybody.